Good morning, students. Today we'll begin with the that is the second half of module 5. It is on supervisory control and data acquisition systems, SCADA part. Right? Let us start with the types of processes. As we know that process control is an automatic system in which the various parameters are controlled automatically. Okay, that is, the systems are able to sense the unlock signals from the sensors. They are also able to perform mathematical functions, and hence they are able to perform the control operations. Manufacturing consists of series of processes which are applied to raw materials to convert the raw materials into finished products. Then some of the applications of the process control systems include automobile industry, petrochemical industry, oil refining, power generation, and food processing industries. There are two types of processes here. One is called as a continuous process, another one is called as a batch process. A continuous process is one in which the raw materials enter from one end of the system and the finished product comes out of from the other end of the system. This such a system is called as the continuous process. This process runs continuously. We can see the continuous process in this figure. The raw materials enter from one end, that is, this is the engine block from where the raw materials are entering. Then these raw materials are processed by the automated machinery and by the hand assembly. Then there some checks are performed, some adjustments are being done, and then the finished product comes out from the other end of the assembly line. Okay, this is the completed engine, right, of the completed finished product. Okay, this is how the continuous process is. Then in the batch processing, there is no flow of product material from one section of the process to another. But here, a set of inputs are applied to the process. These set of inputs are combined, and some processing operation is done on these inputs, and they are being stored in some other compartment. That is, the products produced using the batch processing include the food industry, food products, beverages, pharmaceutical products, paints, and fertilizers. The next figure shows the batch processing operation. As we can see in this figure, there are three ingredients which are mixed together. The three inputs, these are mixed together. They are heated. They are heated, and then they are stored in this container. Okay, so these are the three ingredients. They are heated by the heater arrangement. They are mixed up, and then they are stored in this compartment. So such a process is called as the batch process. Then in the discrete manufacturing, the inputs applied to the PLC are discrete in nature, or they are digital inputs. The examples of discrete manufacturing process consists of the car making of car interiors. Then the various control configurations. There are different types of control configurations. They are individual. Then second one is centralized, and third is the distributed. Individual, centralized, and distributed. These are the three types of control configurations. In the individual control configuration, there is a single machine which is being controlled, used to control, and this type of control does not require communication between two PLCs or exchange of information between two PLCs. Fine. Then next one is, students, the centralized control system in which one PLC controls the other PLCs. There is exchange of information between the central computer or the central PLC and the other PLCs. The main feature of centralized control can be summarized like this: that is, each individual step in the manufacturing process is handled by a central control system controller. If the main controller fails, then the whole process will stop. So this is the disadvantage of the centralized control system. That is, if the main controller fails, the whole entire process will stop. Then in the distributed control system, it is called as DCS. It is a network-based system. In this distributed control system involves two or more PLCs communicating with each other to complete the task. Each PLC controls processes locally, and the PLCs are exchanging the information. Here, the PLCs which are in network, they exchange information between each other, and if there is any malfunctioning in the process, then that is being reported. The status of the process is being reported to the supervisor. So such a system is called as a distributive control system, or the DCS. Right? I hope you are all following here, students. Then next comes the structure of control systems. Process control normally applies to the manufacturing or processing of products in the industry. In case of programmable control, that is PLC, the controlling is being done by the user program, correct? It is a user program which is fed to the PLC, and this user program is the one which controls the entire operation of the PLC. The different components of a process control system are as follows. The first one is the sensors, which sense the input signal. Then this input signal which is being sensed is processed, right? It is converted from one form of energy into another form of energy. For example, it is the conversion takes place from pressure, temperature, flow, rate and position into electrical signals. The pressure signal or the temperature signal and other signals which are physical signals are converted into electrical signals. Then next is the human machine interface. In short, it is called as the HMI. So this allows the human inputs through various types of switches. That is, the human being can apply the inputs through the switches and through the, that is, keypads. Then signal conditioning is being done on the signals. There is a signal are being conditioned as per the requirement. That is, their signals can be amplified, the strength of the signal can be increased, or they can be attenuated, the strength of the signal can be decreased. Okay, and some other conversion processes can take place, such as converting from analog to digital signal, called as A to D converters, or converting from digital to analog signal, called as D to A converters. So all that is what comes under the signal conditioning process. Then actuators, the next part comes the actuator, which converts the electrical signal into physical signal. Fine. Then what are controller, or what is a controller? What are controllers? So these controllers are the one which perform the system's decision based on the input signals. They are meant to take the decisions based on the applied input signals. These generate output signals that operate the actuators. The HMI equipment provides control and visualization interface between human and the process. That is, there is a visualization or the graphical interface between the human being and the PLCs through the other mediums such as computers or say other graphical interfaces. HMIs allow operators to control. So these human machine interface, they are meant to control, monitor, right, the different parameters, then detect the abnormalities or the defects in the system, and then manage the application. Okay, depending on the requirement and complexity of the process, the operator may be required to stop the process or to start the process, make the adjustments required for the process and monitor its progress. Then any abnormal situations are detected and the corrective actions are taken. Next is the controlling, which is called as the on-off control. Here in the on-off control, the final control element is either in the on state or the off state, right? If the control variable is above the set point value, then there is off condition. Then if the control variable is less than the set point value, there is on condition of the control element. Let us see that in this figure. This is the heating process, right, which is a heater which is involved here, and the steam is passed through the control valve. Then that steam is meant to heat the liquid in the tank. That tank, the liquid temperature is sensed, it is applied to the on off controller, right? And this on off controller, this has a particular set point value, which is that is the temperature output of this liquid is compared with the reference value or the set point value. And if the difference between that decides whether the valve should be opened or it should be closed. If the control variable is less than the set point, the valve is opened so that further heating, the steam is passed through the coil and the heating process will take place. But if the control variable is more than the set point, then the control valve is turned off and the heating process will stop there. Okay, this is a simple on off control system. The set point temperature is being applied through the thumb wheel switch, which is in the form of 4 switches for entering the each digit, right? Then if the process variable is in below the set point, the final control element or the valve opens here. That is what is shown here. So you can see this curved line. This is below the set point, means control valve is opening. Okay, it is in the on state. If it is above, then it is in the off state. Okay. So these pulses indicate the on state of the final control element, and wherever there are no pulses, that indicates the off state. I hope you are following here, students. Yes. Then the next part is the PID control. So these PID control allow the final control element to take intermediate positions between the on and off state. Here again the proportioning action, it permits the final control element to vary according to the value of the control variable. If the control variable is above the set point, the control valve will open. The control variable is that is, if the control variable is less than the set point, the control valve will open, and if the control variable is more than the set point, the control valve may be closed. Okay. This is the PID control loop, proportional integrative derivative loop. In full form, it is called as PID. That is the full expansion of PID is proportional integrative derivative controller. Proportional integral derivative controller. It performs the operation of proportional controller. That is, output is proportional to the input. Integral means the output is integral of the input. Derivative means the output is derivative of the input. Okay, and the output of this PID controller is applied to the process. Then the output of the process is applied to the input. It is compared with the set point. The difference between the control variable and the set point is the error. So that error decides again whether the proportional integral derivative action, the parameters how they have to be set, so that the values are set to bring the control variable nearer to the set point. So the error value is adjusted, is try to minimize based on the output that is coming from the process or the control variable that is coming from the process. This is what is called as the proportional integral derivative control loop. Next part is data communications. Data communication refers to the different ways in which the PLC systems they communicate with respect to each other. The different types of communication links that are available here. One is called as a point-to-point link, and another one is a network link. In the point-to-point serial communication link, we have different parts here. This is the example of the point-to-point serial communication link. Here the PLC communicates with the different devices, say to the graphical interface or the printer. Right? It is called as point-to-point communication. There is no network here as such. The communication between the PLC and the different devices takes place through the serial cable. This is the example of point-to-point serial communication. The next is the LAN communication, local area network. All are familiar with this LAN network or the local area network, in which the communication takes place through the network. There is a common network, and each of the systems are communicated to this common network. So if the communication has to take place between two PLCs or between two computers, then it has to take place through this local area network only. It is called as a local area network or the LAN system. Then there are various transmission media, such as the transmission of data takes place with the help of coaxial cable or with a twisted pair or the fiber optics. Right? Nowadays, you have heard of a geo fiber communication. So it is all based on the fiber optics communication, where the fiber optic line is drawn and the data is communicated through this fiber optic communication link. Okay, so these are various types of communication media through which data is transmitted from the sender to the receiver. That is through the coaxial cable or through the twisted pair or through the fiber optics cable. So it depends on the electrical capability of the cables that decides in which environment they have to be used or in which network they have to be used. Fine. That is the capability of these cables decides the environment in which the cables have to be used or the network type in which the cables have to be used. Then the next part here, students, is the distributed control system, DCS. So DCS is nothing but it consists of the individual controllers to control the subsystems. That is, there are many controllers. When the one controller is controlling the other controllers, there is communication of information between one controller and the another controller. A second major use of the local area network is what is called as the SCADA system or supervisory control and data acquisition system. Okay, here the network system. So one is the point-to-point communication, another one is the network communication. Under network communication, we have distributed control systems, and the one more type is the local area network. It is called as the SCADA. One of the important topics, supervisory control and data acquisition network or supervisory control and data acquisition system. Okay, S stands for supervisory, C stands for control, A is for and, then data acquisition. DA means data acquisition. This is called as a star topology network. So there is one network which are the hub, which is a central system, and this central PLC or the central system, the network communication link, it is meant to communicate to different types of PLCs. So this is called a star topology. It is in the form of star connection. Okay. Then one more is the bus topology. In the bus topology, here the various processors or the PLCs are uh, say connected in parallel fashion. They are connected in a parallel fashion. The communication takes place through the main trunk line, through this media attachment, which is in the form of T-shaped. Through this media attachment and through the main trunk line, it communicates. This is starting point and this is the end point or the termination point. Okay, so this is the network. These are the network interface modules. There are various PLCs which are connected in the form of a network interface. Okay, this diagram shows here the communication between master and the slave. There is one controller called as the master controller, and the others are called as the slaves. The master will communicate to the slave through the read and write command. If the master wants to write some information or send some information into the slave PLC, then the master PLC will send the control signal, that the right control signal, so that whatever information data has to be communicated, that is written into the or that is stored into the slave PLC. Suppose if the master controller, if the master PLC wants to read the data from the slave PLC, then the control signal is sent, and whatever data is there in the slave PLC, that is read into the master PLC. These are the another ways of communicating between sender and the receiver or transmitter and receiver. It is called as parallel data transfer. That is, this transmitter sends the data to the receiver in parallel. All the data bits are transmitted in parallel at the same time simultaneously. This is called as parallel data transfer. But on the other side, in the serial data transfer, each bit is transmitted one at a time. First, this first bit is sent, one is sent, then zero is sent, then one, then next zero is sent, one zero, then lastly one is sent. So one bit at a time is transmitted from transmitter to the receiver in the serial data transfer. Okay, one is the parallel data transfer, and all the bits are where all the bits are transmitted at the same time from transmitter to the receiver. And in the serial data transfer, the single bit is transmitted from the transmitter to the receiver at one point of time. The last part here is students supervisory control and data acquisition system. Supervisory control and data acquisition system. It is called as a SCADA. So as the name indicates, it is meant to supervise the system, control the system, and acquire the data. That is how the name has come to this system as the supervisory control and data acquisition system. It supervises the data. It also monitors or it controls the data. It is also meant to acquire or to read the data. Okay. So it is meant to perform the collecting data, performing the necessary processing, and structuring the data for generating the reports. Then, as we can see here, this is the diagram of the SCADA system. Here, there's a central computer. Then the SCADA this system, it is being controlling the various systems here. Okay. The interface inputs to this SCADA system are the temperature for thermocouple and resistance temperature detectors, pressure sensors, position sensor, force, strain gauge, then speed. All these are inputs. Then the output that is from the SCADA system are the alarms, then the PLC relay controls, analog outputs, PID process control, right? And the data may be stored on the graph in the form of graphs on the graphical user interfaces, or it may be printed and stored as a hard copy using the printers, or it may be made a soft copy also the form of a CD. Okay, and it can be analyzed with the help of the Excel spreadsheet, so the data whatever that can be analyzed. Okay, so this is about the data acquisition system. Okay, in today's class, students, we have gone through various topics, starting from types of processes, then what is continuous process, batch process. Okay, then various types of processes, discrete process. Then we have a centralized control, distributed control system, individual control, structure of the control system, which consists of the sensors, then the signal conditioners, the human machine interface involving signal conditioning, processing of the signals, then actuators which convert the electrical signal into physical signal, then the controllers which make the system's decision based on the input signals, human machine interfaces, continuation of that. Then on-off control, I have given the example of the on-off control here using this diagram. Then the graph of the on-off control system. PID control, what is proportional integral derivative control system. This is a diagram which explains the PID control loop, feedback loop. Then various types of data communication starting from the point-to-point communication link. This is the point-to-point serial communication link. Then we have the LAN communication link, local area network communication. Then data communications achieved through coaxial cable, twisted pair, and the fiber optics cable. Distributed control systems, DCS, and one important various topologies such as a star topology network, bus topology network, master slave network. Okay, the other types of data transmission, that is parallel data transfer, serial data transfer, and last part is supervisory control and data acquisition system. Okay, this is the diagram which shows the explanation, which explains the supervisory control and data acquisition system. Okay, I hope everybody have followed here. If there are any questions or any queries, you can send your questions and queries to me so that I will answer to your questions and queries. This is the last part in module 5. So with the last topic, that is supervisory control and data acquisition system. So this is the end of the syllabus and the end of the module 5. Thank you.